Well, first of all, Ruben, tell me who you are. Who is Ruben Villarreal?
Ruben Villarreal is a born and raised Rio Grande Valley native. I went to the public schools here. I went to UT PA when I got my college degree. Most importantly, I was a city official for 14 years in Rio Grande City. Did a lot of regional projects, everything from the UTRGV, which is now, to working through STC. But more importantly, I was a volunteer for a dozen years, and I still am. And also, very importantly, I'm a small business person who still owns a small business and knows the struggles that we go through every single day to make payroll and to make sure we provide opportunity for our communities.
Okay. Why are you running for Congress?
Running for Congress is an endeavor that I'm doing because what I discovered when I became a mayor was that I enjoyed so much touching the lives of people in such a positive way. I have no doubt Rio Grande City was about, let's say, 20,000 people, and I know I touched their lives. Might have been a glass of water, it might have been a paved street, might have been a nice day at the park, but touching people's lives is my greatest thrill, and I want to extend that now to 850,000 people of U.S. District 15.
Describe your political philosophy, the standard labels that are put politically, whether it's classical liberal, progressive liberal, conservative. Who are you, where are you, and how'd you get there?
I call myself a functional conservative. Let me tell you why I say functional. At the end of the day, whether you're conservative or liberal, you must have a high degree of cooperation, communication, and an ability to conduct yourself where you create laws and create communities that benefit everybody. So when I say I'm conservative, I am pro-life, I am pro-Second Amendment. I love the Constitution. The Constitution is a wonderful document that we need to adhere to. I'm also pro-military. I believe in a strong defense. A strong defense, not to create war, but to create peace. Somebody has to be the peacekeeping force, and I'm very proud to say the United States of America has done a wonderful job over the years. And most importantly, I will tell you that as a platform, border security is such a huge issue. I lived the Central American crisis, as you will know, 2014, and the experiences that I gathered there will help me make good decisions to find real solutions for Washington, D.C., for our part of Texas.
What is the number one issue from our perspective here in the Valley that you want to tackle if you were sent to Washington?
Two things. I'll say two things, really three things, but two things that I'll mention. Top two have to be border security, number one, because border security has become national security. You've had issues where now you have even Syrian immigrants who have surrendered themselves in Laredo. You've had situations where we've had wave after wave of undocumented. Now, the problem with that is they're coming from Central America. It creates a very dangerous circumstance, not just for them, but for everybody involved, including the people of this country. And, the second very, very important issue that I'll talk about is international trade. We have to make sure that our ports of entry continue to flow, continue to prosper. We need inspection stations, pre-inspection stations on both sides in order to allow our international trade to flow. Keep in mind that Mexico's trade with this country represents about $1 billion per day. So we got to do more for our 26 or so ports of entry along this border. And the last thing I'll say is always education. We got to make sure that we make affordable education so these kids, when they come out of college, don't have high debt, so their parents can afford them an education. That's going to be a springboard to bigger things for everybody.
How would you fix the border security issue when it comes to all this illegal immigration that we continue to see today?
I saw it firsthand. Let me tell you something. I was one of the few public officials that actually worked with National Guard, Texas DPS, Sheriff's Office, and local law enforcement. I'm very proud to say because it gave me a very eye-opening experience, and it gave me an understanding of what works. Here's what works. I know you hear a lot of talk about a border wall. Border wall is going to create $7 to $10 billion in expense. It's not going to give you what you need. It's going to create nothing more than a razor wire, concrete, and chain link scarecrow. It's not going to scare anybody. What we need is more boots on the ground. We need to double our force here in the Rio Grande Valley. We have 300 river miles, 250 coastal miles, so we need to double the force on Border Patrol. Most importantly, technology. People think that things like cameras exist. The people think that things like surveillance drones exist. They do not. We don't have the ability to have eyes at all points along the river. So technology in combination with boots on the ground will be the most effective tool.
What is your position on abortion, and how does federal policy play into that?
My position, I'm pro-life. I think that if Roe v. Wade was decided today, you'd see a very different outcome. It was decided in 1973, I think, Roe v. Wade. And back then, I think the justices just used a benchmark of 12 weeks as saying this is what's allowable. We've gotten carried away with abortion in this country. And in this state also, I mean, for a while there, they were considering late-term abortions at 21 weeks. the human life is precious, and these children that are there deserve a chance to live and a chance to thrive in our communities and in our country. And anything we can do to protect life needs to be done. One thing I've talked about that sounds a little edgy, maybe scaling back that 12-week mark that we use now, because now we know that the conception of life starts much quicker than we used to think.
This is a very long district, and it combines two areas of the state that are very distinct. How do you propose to unify the district?
I'm doing it already. I've been visiting extensively into the areas of Guadalupe County, Seguin, Cibolo, Schertz, McQueeney, Geronimo, George West. I already stopped in George West. I stopped in Three Rivers. The effort that this congressman that takes his position on must do is knowing that he's going to live out of a suitcase and travel 95% of the time. And I've already done some of that. So the way you unify it is travel, meet the people, shake the hands. I've talked to everything from homemakers to educators to students to public officials and everybody. Let me tell you something. I just spoke to somebody about this. At the end of the day, they're all taxpayers, and they want a government that saves their money and is careful with money. They want a government that listens to them, and most importantly, they want a government that stands up for the traditional values of this country.
Why are you running as a Republican?
Because there's no other way to run in my soul. I am Republican. I want to tell you something. I was a city official. Didn't have to declare I was nonpartisan, but the time came in my life where I had to decide on a political faction, and there was not even a second guess in my mind. My conservative values, my strong approach at fiscal management, my strong approach at doing what's good for this country without a doubt. It's this country first, everybody else comes second. And in my eyes, a true conservative believes in the Constitution, believes in God, and believes in family. And I have all three of those values that run in my veins very, very strongly.
Any final thoughts? Something that you'd like folks that are watching and folks that will be voting, anything that you want them to know that we haven't mentioned?
I will tell you, the way to address this whole congressional is something I call stash government. It was something that was not created by me, and I know I have a mustache, but it started there. Stash stands for sincere, approachable, transparent, committed, honest and committed. So stash government and effective. I forgot effective. It's very important that we have those qualities as we dive in here, that we are available to people. Cut those layers between you and your congressman and expect your congressman to show up to your community events, to show up to your celebrations, to show up to your schools. That's what a congressman does. He's out and about, traveling his district, making sure that he's connected and he's communicating constantly.
Former Mayor of Rio Grande